What's going on, guys? Disney Dan here. Welcome back into the channel, and we got to say, for the good of all Muggles. I mean, Kree.
For the good of all Kree.
For the good of all Kree, not Muggles,
and Muggles.
And Muggles. Welcome in, everybody. Now, we're going into unwatered territory.
Uncharted territory, for sure.
That's it. That's the phrase. We're doing something a little bit different.
We are.
You're like, wait, Dan, Walt, on a Wednesday? Are we in the Twilight Zone? What's going on? No,
nope.
It is our first official Disney movie review, but non-Disney movie review.
Yeah, we really thought about the name. It took us a while to come up with it. But
it was genius. It was just something
it was incredible. Dan ultimately came up with it, and it was amazing. I can see the light bulb that came over his head. And I'm sure this won't be the last one of these we'll do. I'm sure down the road we'll do another here and there during the week, but they'll be fun.
But I think it's quite fitting because the Fantastic Beasts Secrets of Dumbledore film has just been released, and we happened randomly, by the way, this was randomly picked by you, the viewers, to choose Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is the fourth Harry Potter installment, to review. So we're going to do our normal Disney movie review spiel. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to go from start to finish, talk about what we like, what we dislike, give it a letter grade as we normally do. We're just changing it to a non-Disney film. And that's what I thought would be kind of cool. So, but yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. But let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll wait till you're done. Go ahead. See who's in the chat, and then I'll bring out what I was going to say.
I want to see who's in the chat because we got some friends here. We got Sai. Great to see you. She loves this film. Thank you for being here. Jean, welcome in, Jean. Thank you for being here as well. Good to see you. And there's the wonderful Hannah Waghorn. Hello, witches, wizards, and muggles. And she's saying, "Oh, we miss you. Yeah, we miss you too." Yeah, not too bad. Currently have a winter spring cold. Oh no. I'm going into a 9-day working week. But here we are. I will wizard up some medicine to get me through. That's the spirit. That is the spirit. Well, thank you for being here. We've got Debbie Bernfeld here. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. I know it's weird saying a Wednesday, but happy Wednesday. So, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the fourth Harry Potter installment. And, I mean, we couldn't have chosen a better place to start because this is right in the thick of it. This is just as, the series starts to heat up.
Well, and it's funny you say that. First off, let's just say 2005 is when this movie was released. It almost made $1 billion, $896 million worldwide. Now the budget was about $150 million. Easily made its money back. It wasn't even close.
We got the legendary R. Johnson.
What's up, Richard?
What's up, my brother? Great to see you. Thank you for being here.
And for us in the States, now I don't know about overseas, but here in the States, I think this was our first real delve into experiencing Robert Pattinson as Cedric Diggory.
Yep.
I don't ever remember this kid. He's not a kid anymore, but this guy previous to Harry Potter. I think that's what kind of put him on the map was this movie as Cedric Diggory.
And then he became Batman. Yeah.
That's a story for another day.
After he spent many other times as a vampire. Alex Prince, what is up? Great to see you. Debbie Bernfeld. I'm a newbie to the Harry Potter world. Just started watching these movies and reading the books the last few months. Wow. I mean, what an amazing thing to do because, I can't even remember the first time I watched the movies or read the books because there's something so special. So I'm glad you're reading and watching these for the first time. This is just a few years before I met the Weasley twins. What?
Wow, good for you.
Now, in the UK, the Harry Potter franchise is huge. I mean, it's massive. It's much larger of a fan base here in the UK than maybe arguably in the United States.
And that's saying something because it's big over here. I mean, it is big over here. So I agree with you 100%.
I will say the Harry Potter studios in which they made the films is about 15 minutes from here.
That's awesome. Good
and what's really cool, before I moved into this place, in my old place, you get to see the double-decker night buses from the third Harry Potter movie take guests to the studios, and they just go down the roads. and it's so cool.
That's awesome,
and it's an amazing experience, and it's a huge. I mean, you can go
it's
to
big.
King's Cross here in the UK, and they have a dedicated wall for platform 9 3/4 where you could take a photograph.
That's funny.
I mean, it's so cool. Hannah says, I love listening to Stephen Fry reading the Harry Potter stories. Absolutely. David Tennant was in it too, who played Doctor Who for a number of seasons. Absolutely. Bringing David Tennant, the actor who made Doctor Who very, very popular, definitely was a big plus. Hannah Wagwan.
Well, it's funny you say that, but David Tennant is also Kilgrave in the Jessica Jones series.
Absolutely.
And he's also in the Around the World in 80 Days.
He is. Leanne Sherbick, welcome.
Hey, Leanne, welcome in. Now that's a BBC television show. But yes. he's in that too. He plays the main character whose name escapes me at the moment. Phineas Fogg, I think it is.
That's it.
I think it's Phineas Fogg. But let me say this before we even get started. This is Dan said it, and it's the truth. It's the fourth installment in the Harry Potter series, whether you talk books or whether you talk movies. They did a real good job throughout of staying synchronized. But this movie for me is the one that really changes the tone of the Harry Potter movies moving forward.
I mean,
the first three were kind of, they're in school, they're learning, it's kind of PG. This one really takes it, becomes serious.
Prisoner of Azkaban delved a little bit into it. Like, it got a little
bit, but this is the one that really took it to the serious level, for sure.
Hannah says, I agree with Dan. The Harry Potter Studios in King's Cross is absolutely amazing. A must do if you're over here in the UK, and also Aldwych Castle, where Quidditch was filmed. Matthew Cooper, welcome in.
Hey,
Matthew. See you. Hey, Chris. I sent you a direct message. Look at your messages. Good to see you, brother. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. So Harry Potter is the Goblet of Fire starts to get a little dark. We open the story in a very dark scenario. We see a little bit of a sort of maybe like a flashback, something like that. We don't really know for sure, but what we see in almost Harry's dreams is an old man, the caretaker, and what he does, he goes up to this big mansion, and it's very dark, very decrepit, and he's walking into this sort of large house, this large mansion, and he's creeping up the staircases, and he sees just over the top of the last staircase a bed with the snake. Nagini, and we see David Tennant, whose character we're not going to reveal yet, who is clearly talking to a man in a bed. We have an idea that this is clearly Voldemort, but it's almost like in a first-person perspective. And then we get the killing spell, and it kills the old man, and instantly Harry wakes up in almost this vision-style dream. I mean, talk about a dark opening. Well, Sebastian the Crab.
Hey, Jeanette, welcome in. It's also the first time where we really think we start to really get a major glimpse into the connection that Harry has with He Who Must Not Be Named. Like a real connection. We still don't know how that connection is. At least I didn't yet. I was like, wow. But it's a even more in-depth way of them delving into the connection that Harry has with Voldemort directly, which of course plays out big time in the last films. But it is a dark beginning. Again, the tone in this film really takes it to another level compared to the first three that we had. Without giving too much away, it works.
It absolutely does. And I think for people who have read the books, actually I read the books after I watch the films, you already know kind of what to expect. You kind of know that it gets into a darker theme and darker sort of, so you're kind of expecting that. I will say before we move any further, because I know there are some hardcore die-hard Harry Potter fans out there, if we get our facts wrong or if we get anything wrong, we don't get into the nitty-gritty of everything, don't kill us. Like, we're just big fans. We're not like you know. But
Yeah, I like
because those fans
yeah.
can be.
Well,
You know, that mansion was that mansion, and you know the caretaker's name was, and the dog's name was this.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Harry Potter fan, but I don't claim to know everything. But that's a good. I'm glad you said that. But you know, we'll do our best to really kind of break the movie down.
Yeah, absolutely. So Harry Potter wakes up in, I believe it's the Weasley household.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Samantha, what's up? Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Sam.
Wakes up in the Weasley household, and with Ron and Hermione and everybody of the Weasley household, and they go on a little adventure in the woods where they meet up with Cedric Diggory's character. Not Cedric Diggory's character, Robert Pattinson's character, Cedric Diggory. There you go. We've got the.
Well, they're heading to the Quidditch tournament, and they have to go through a port key. And you're right. They meet him and his father as they're all going to the port key together, and it's our first introduction to Cedric Diggory. Strapping, big dude, good looking dude, very charming. You know, all the girls think he's awesome, and even the guys think he's awesome. I think Ron's like, wow, I wish I was him, or something like that. I don't remember what he says, but he is, and he's a good dude too. He's not one of these big, strapping, good-looking guys that's full of himself. He's very humble and he's very nice as well. But yeah, they're going to the Quidditch tournament.
You know what I really like is that the writers very subtly gave us a device, a tool that they explained at the start of the movie that became very vital at the end of the movie, which was the port key. You know, they just thought, oh yeah, it's just a thing to get to A to B. Oh yeah, we can easily get from this little foresty area to the Quidditch tournament. Bish bash bosh, no problem.
It's true.
But actually, it's a
very
vital tool.
Yeah. It's subtle in the beginning, but then it plays a huge part at the end of the film. Absolutely.
So they use this old boot they probably found in the bottom of a lake that was a port key, and they end up at this Quidditch World Cup. Hey Dana, so good to see you. Welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. And there's Melissa. Welcome in, Melissa. Welcome in. So they end up at the Quidditch World Cup. Now, what's really, really cool, I love how they do the tents in the movie where, you know, they got the tents and they're like opening and you go in, it's like Doctor Who's TARDIS. You go into the tent and it's like a giant sort of living space.
Yeah, it's a real small tent at first. And then when you walk in, it's like you're in this giant house. And actually, it's one of the best lines when you see it is when Harry walks in and he goes, "I love magic."
Yeah, it's cool.
It's true. It is really neat.
It is cool. And they, they go to the Quidditch World Cup final where it is Ireland versus Bulgaria? No.
Yeah, I think it's Bulgaria.
Is it Bulgaria?
Yeah.
And they come across Lucius and Draco Malfoy there. And they're just there because, they're rich enough. They could do whatever they want. And you get introduced to Victor Krum, who's the leader, the seeker of the Bulgarian team, just because he'll come back in the later part of the
well, he's a superstar. He's like he's like Ronaldo. I don't know. I'm not a soccer guy. I'm not a football guy.
The Tom Brady of Quidditch.
Yes, exactly.
So they were watching the match, all that kind of stuff. And they were celebrating. They're having a great time. Ron is fanboying over Victor Krum.
Big time.
Christine Hickman, welcome in.
Hey,
so good to see you. And then it just quickly goes to a dark turn, and there's an attack on the Quidditch World Cup.
Right. Well, it's after they had already gone to the match they were going to. They were inside. They were all just kind of hanging out and inside their tent when the dad walks in and tells them, "Okay, get your stuff. We gotta go. We gotta go now." And they walk out and they see people running and it's chaos and all these Death Eaters are coming out of nowhere and they're attacking people. And it's an interesting. again, the entire tone of this film is really dark and very kind of scary, spooky throughout. There's a lot of drama. And they all try to escape, but Harry actually doesn't get away, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he get knocked out or something? And they have to come back for him? Or maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking wrong.
Maybe it eludes me.
But I do know that it's the first time we see the sign. Voldemort's sign, because they shoot it into the air. Yeah, the Death Eater sign.
It was Barty Crouch who sent it up in the sky.
Yes.
Because everyone had left. It was all a barren wasteland, and he shoots up the spell.
Yeah, he did. He passed out, but they didn't see him, and everybody was gone. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Harry wakes up and looks behind one of the tents and sees all the Death Eaters talking, and then they come back and get him.
And they couldn't get a good look at him because obviously the whole mystery part of this film is who this guy is, who's David Tennant's character is. Yes, he does get trampled over. Thank you, Matthew and Hannah, for reminding us. So they get out of there. Obviously, it goes all over the news. Everybody finds out, is Voldemort coming back? What's going on? And they start heading back to Hogwarts. And it's sort of, I think, the dark start of this movie. It starts to sort of liven up a little bit. It
definitely lightens up. Sure,
definitely lightens up. I think definitely the middle part of this movie starts to sort of, there are some dark tones, but there are things where it starts to liven up. So,
the dark tones. Let me just say this: the dark tones are a precursor to the end of the film. I think they had to start it that way. They'll get to the lighthearted side of it, or the more back to school side of it for sure. But they're setting us up for what's to come at the end of this film.
Absolutely,
by doing that. It's I don't remember who the director was. I don't know if it was David Yates.
I think it was David Yates.
Okay, yeah, David Yates does a really remarkable job with that. The just setting the tone for what's to come in the final act, with fun stuff in between.
Absolutely.
Because when they hit us with the final act, it's really kind of, for me, a gut punch, because I'm not expecting it, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
But we're back to school for what I think, Dan, is one of the best things in the books and the movies, and it's the Triwizard.
I thought you were going to go with one of the best characters.
Well, yes, but just the whole premise of this movie is it's the Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah. And
it's being held this year at Hogwarts.
Yeah, so they have... Yeah,
it's just pretty awesome.
The Triwizard Tournament is set up by... what's his name? The head of the Ministry of Magic. What's his...
I can't remember his name.
But... so he sets it up, the gorgeous trophy, and there's 3 rounds, and obviously these are death-defying, tasks. Only if, the pupils in the highest year can participate. You've got to be over the age of 17. And Hogwarts invites the other 2 schools from around the world to come and compete. So you have the all-female school. Don't remind us whatever the name of the school is. That's where Fleur...
Beauxbatons.
Beauxbatons, that's it.
Yeah, the Beauxbatons.
Fleur marries Billy Weasley later on.
Fleur Delacour.
Fleur Delacour. She marries Billy Weasley later on in the books, I believe. And then you have Durmstrang, which is Victor Crumb's school. And they come to Hogwarts, and they are taking part in the Triwizard Tournament, where we also get introduced to, personally, one of my favorite characters, just because of how crazy he is, and that is Mad-Eye Moody.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked the character of Mad-Eye Moody, just the way he comes across on screen. The actor who is, what's his name? He does such a fantastic job. Let's have a quick...
It's Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson, that's it.
Yes. And by the way, Cornelius Fudge is the name of the...
Cornelius Fudge.
That's the name of the... yeah, for sure. Well, it's the one thing we have to remember is with when you have the Triwizard Tournament, anybody 17 and over can enter. But they put a specific type of spell around.
It's like an age ring or something.
It's an age ring. So if you're not 17, you can't do it. And it's kind of like an alarm system. It'll stop you. And they have the fun little moment where the twins try to do it, and they do the de-aging potion themselves to make them, they think makes them look older and feel older, and they think they're going to get past the spell, but the spell catches them, and that's all funny.
They end up looking like Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, they do. They really do. It's kind of funny. But I think this is, for me, one of my favorite parts of the film is just when we get to the actual picking of the competitors, the Tri-Wizard champions that will be competing. Because at this point, we're getting ready for it. We're introduced to the Bulgarians. We're introduced to the Bobatons. They come in. Everybody knows them. We know the 3 schools that are going to be participating. And then we get to the night in question when the three Tri-Wizard champions are chosen. There's only 3.
Yep.
There's only supposed to be 3. And it's really, I love it. I just think it's really neat.
So obviously, Victor Crumb is first. Fleur Delacour was picked for her school, and then Cedric Diggory was picked for Hogwarts. And then the Goblet of Fire turns a little different colours, and obviously, because we all knew it because his name's on the posters on the franchise. Harry's name was shot out of the fire and was picked up by Dumbledore, and he's not happy. What is quite funny is one of the biggest pet peeves in this film. When Dumbledore reads out Harry Potter's name, he accidentally goes into an American accent. He goes, Harry Potter. And they shout Harry Potter. Like he goes between 2 accents there. It really annoys me.
Michael Gambon, he's not American, is he?
No, he's British.
Yeah.
He goes, Harry Potter. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Just read it properly.
He did read it. He did read it.
You're English. He's not American.
No. I think this is one of the neatest things is because, again, they have this powerful charm that's around this thing. No, I mean, he's only 15. He's like 14, 15 years old in the books. And his name gets chosen. And you're like, it's a Tri-Wizard tournament. You're only supposed to have 3. And he was chosen by the cup, by the tournament. And you're like, how did this happen? I mean, for those seeing it for the first time or reading it for the first time, it's really neat because you're like, how did this happen? And that's how they are. They're like, this has never happened before. And they're like, did he put his name in? And they're like, there's no way he could have done it. He doesn't know spells yeah.
And what was really important for Harry to say, he didn't want to put his name.
No, he didn't want to be in it.
He didn't want to be in it.
Right.
Which is really important, actually, because now he has no choice in being in a competition that he didn't want to be in.
It's binding. And they say that. They said, does he have to compete? And Cornelius Fudge says, the cup is a binding contract. He has to compete.
He has to compete.
He does, whether he wants to or not, it doesn't matter. He has to.
Which puts a lot of his fellow compatriots, his fellow classmates, very against him. Why does he get picked? Why is he doing this? And it kind of, puts him against a lot of his school. So
I think what it is more than anything else with a lot of them, because it's in the forefront with Ron, it's more about jealousy, because I think they think he's just trying to get the attention, the notoriety. He's trying to be number 1 again because Harry Potter is Harry Potter and he wants all the fame and glory. And I think Ron falls into that spell himself, no pun intended, of thinking, oh, Harry just wants the glory for himself.
Yeah.
Because they even get into it and Harry looks at him and goes, Ron, I didn't want this. So you're right. I mean, it kind of alienates him even with his friends. But I think it was kind of part of the whole plot of what why this happened. I think that was part of what they wanted.
But they have a really, really big falling out just before the first task. Really, really big falling out. And then in the next scene, you see Harry walking with Hagrid with his invisibility cloak, going undercover. And Hagrid is kind of going on a date with the headmistress of the Balbaton school, and they go and see dragons in the Forbidden Forest. And Harry gets a first-hand look at all of these dragons that he inevitably will have to encounter at some point in his near distant future. And it's come to sort of a point where Harry's like, why didn't Ron tell me about the dragons? And it was almost like Chinese whispers. Person to person to person told Hermione, told Harry about the dragons, and Ron is just not having it. Even though it was Ron who told Hagrid to take him to see the dragons. So Ron's still helping him, even though he's still angry with him.
Right. That's true. But it's funny you say that, because then that's the first task is you have to capture this egg that's being guarded by these 3 different dragons. But what's funny is you have the Chinese fireball, the horntail. I don't remember the name.
Hungarian horntail.
The Hungarian horntail, the Chinese fireball, and then there's another one. But I think it's the Hungarian horntail, which is the meanest and the baddest of them all. And that's the one. And that's the one Harry gets, because they have to put their hand in a bag to pull it out, kind of like we do with their reviews. And it's really neat the way you pull it out. You pull out like this little baby dragon. It's all just magic, but he pulls out the Hungarian horntail. So he draws the worst one. And he has to go last, too. So the 3 before him, they all succeeded. They won their task. They captured the egg and survived. And Harry's last, and he's got the hardest dragon. It's really done well. It's really done well.
It's done very well. And it's a really quite... You feel very claustrophobic watching it. You feel like you're in the pit with Harry, trying to fight off against this dragon. I do really like the chase on the broomstick.
Done well.
Around Hogwarts.
Done well, I agree.
And the dragon gets sort of crushed with all the debris from the castle, and he manages to pick up the egg. And he kind of gets celebrated in the Gryffindor common room.
Yeah, he wins. He does. He succeeds. He does succeed in his task. He does. He does it the hard way, but he gets it done. He does get it done.
And then he opens the egg, and a big screech bellows throughout the Gryffindor common room. And I love what Ron says next. He goes, "What the bloody hell was that?" and they kind of sort of, forgive each other. And that was task 1 ended. And this is sort of the first time we see Harry get in contact with Cedric Diggory, because they're trying to figure out how to do.
Yeah, they don't understand the point of the egg. They don't understand the point of the egg. Whenever they open it, it makes that horrendous noise, and nobody really understands the point of it. But then I think it was Cedric who actually
tells him,
gives him a hint. Yeah. He says, "You need to take a bath." He just left it at that. And I think that was nice of him to do that. He didn't have to do that.
Because he was wearing the buttons that don't like Harry. I really love the scene. Hi, Karen Cook. Welcome into the stream. Thank you for being here. I do love the scene where they're in the courtyards of the castle and Slytherin and Malfoy come up to Harry. And just out of nowhere, Mad-Eye Moody turns Draco Malfoy into a weasel.
Yeah.
And puts it into Crabbe or Goyle's pants. Or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
he's very productive. He's protective of Harry. He is. Mad-Eye Moody is.
McGonagall goes, Is that a student? Is that a pupil? And he goes, technically it's a ferret. I love it. It's really, really funny. But so I love that scene. That's really, really great. And then he goes and takes a bath. He opens the egg. He finds Moaning Myrtle. Moaning Myrtle actually helps him with this scene. Opens the egg, and here's a little song about what sort of is almost like a prophecy almost. And it gives you a hint of the next task, which is to save who you most love. Yeah, matters most to you.
Yeah, save who matters most to you. Yeah. And this is actually really kind of neat because for Fleur Delacour, it's her sister. It's her younger sister. For Victor, it's Hermione.
Interesting.
If I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right.
For Cedric, it was
Cho.
And for Harry, it was
Ron.
Was it Ron?
It was Ron.
It was Ron. Yeah. So which was really neat because that was just really, really cool. And that was the point. They had to go down and this is the one I like because you had to do it in a certain amount of time or you were eliminated. Okay? So
I was going to say, now, bearing in mind, Harry doesn't know where his friends are. Right. He's had to resort to, let's be fair, the hero of the whole story, of the whole of Harry Potter, Neville Longbottom, for some advice.
Yeah, Neville helps him. Yeah.
And it gives him some gillyweed, whatever it is.
I think it was gillyweed that makes him have gills. So he can breathe underwater. Yeah. And that was the key. Everybody, and that was also what was really neat about this task is everybody had to also figure that out. How am I going to hold my breath underwater? And they all had different devices or ways to be able to hold their breath, which I thought was cool. They all didn't do the gills thing. Some did other things. Somebody had something over their mouth with oxygen. It was really neat how they did that.
Like Crumb was like half shark.
Yes. Yeah, he made him half shark.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
They were diving through. I really like sort of the setting of this task. I don't know if you've seen sort of the behind the scenes of how they made it, where they hired this huge pool facility where they did a lot of the tasks, literally in the water. It was pretty cool. And Harry gets attacked by these creature with trident creatures, which is, they're quite scary. But even though they said like you can only take one person, and Harry's like, that ain't happening. Fleur's out for the count. I need to save not only Ron, but I need to save Fleur's sister as well.
Well, I'm gonna take 2 steps back just for a minute. So everybody finds their person. They're all together. They're all one right next to each other. If I'm not mistaken, Victor wins. I think he was first, or it was either him or Cedric was first. Yeah, it might have been Cedric. Cedric might have won.
Cedric Diggory won.
Okay, Cedric won. He got Cho first, so he was the first one out of the water with his prize. Second was Victor. Last was, you had Fleur and you had Harry. Well, Fleur lost. She did something happened to her where she couldn't go down and get her sister. But Harry, when you're right, because Harry, you couldn't be last, and you had to do it within a certain amount of time. And Dan's right. Harry gets down there and he's saving Ron, and as he saves Ron, he looks around and he doesn't see Fleur anywhere, and he's like, "I'm saving her too." And I thought that was cool. I agree with you.
And that's when all the creatures attack.
Because he can't. They attacked him because the rules are you can only get one. They were stopping him from getting both.
Right. So Ron and Fleur's sister go up together. Harry is pulled down by these creatures. He does, I think he does Ascendio because he's ascending out of the water. And he sort of shoots up like Superman out of the water. And then obviously Dumbledore hands out the points, and Harry gets bonus points for saving two people. So
that's the key, and that's what they said, and they explained that. They're like, because Harry's like, I lost, I'm out, and they say to him, no, because if you hadn't saved the sister, you would have you would have been right there. You were right there to qualify. So that was really, really neat. I agree. And Flora's very appreciative. She comes over and hugs him and kisses him on the cheek and thanks him for saving her sister. And it's a nice moment. It really is. It's a good moment.
Absolutely. So after the event, Harry gets a little conversation with Barty Crouch. Just congratulating him.
Mad-Eye Moody.
And well, no, just with Barty Crouch, and then Mad-Eye Moody is sort of watching from a distance.
Oh, Barty Crouch Senior.
Yeah, Senior. And Mad-Eye Moody is just like he's watching very, very carefully.
Right.
We then get to a scene where Harry, I don't know if it was before the lake or after the lake, he kind of uses Dumbledore's like going back in time liquid thing where he gets to see who betrayed, who was some of the Death Eaters. We know the headmaster of Dunstram, he was a former Death Eater.
Oh, he goes into the Pensieve, I think. It. Yeah, he goes into the pen. He puts his face into the Pensieve where Dumbledore's got all his memories, and he goes back in time to where you're right. Yeah,
and it was, I think it was, his name is Karkaroff, and he was explaining who were the other Death Eaters. He was like, Severus Snape, he's Death Eater. Dumbledore stands up. He's like, no, he's working undercover for me. It's not happening. And Barty Crouch is the one who is sort of leading the trial.
Right. And Barty Crouch Senior is leading the trial.
And then Karkaroff just shouts out Barty Crouch Jr. And obviously Barty Crouch Senior could not believe it.
Yeah, he's very shocked and very saddened and disappointed.
Junior was there. He was there at the trial. And then he was arrested. And he does a very, very simple thing that becomes sort of his trademark, where he does a little slip of the tongue. He goes like to the side.
It's like kind of I called it a nervous tick.
Like that's a nervous twitch, yeah.
Yeah. And for sure.
Which kind of gives you a few sort of hints, I guess. And it kind of gives sort of questions to Harry. He comes out of the memory. And the next thing we hear is Barty Crouch Senior has been murdered. Yes. They find his body.
Yeah.
And this is back in the modern day. This is not back in the flashback. This was modern day.
Yeah, this is out in the woods they found him, and he's gone. Yeah. He had been hit with the killing curse, and he's gone.
He's dead. I know we've got a lot still to talk about. I just want to quickly bring up sort of the realism of Harry Potter. Hey Horizon 18. We've got to remember that this is still a coming-to-age story. So we've got to remember about the time as very, very, very young adults asking a date to the ball.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously Harry, asks Cho. Cho lets him down. And then he ends up going with Luna, who is one of my favorite characters, Luna Lovegood.
Well... He didn't. She did let him down.
No. She didn't go. He didn't go with Luna, did he? He went with one of the.
He went
twins.
with one. Yes, he went
one
with
one of the Indian girl twins.
And he didn't. She didn't really. He asked her too late. See, she would have gone with him, but Cedric asked her first. So she already said that Cedric's already asked me, and I've said I'd go with him. I think that she would have gone with him. I really do. Had he, remember, because for the longest time, he's like, no, I'm not asking anybody. I'm not. I'm going to go alone. And then he finally gets up the nerve to ask her, and it was too late. Cedric had already.
And then Ron and Harry get left with the twin girls.
I can't think of their names either, but I know who you're talking about.
Parvati or something like that.
Parvati, I think. And
that's it. Ron is wearing his robes, which are very old-fashioned.
It's Padma and Parvati. That's
it. That's it.
Yeah.
And you see Emma Watson, Hermione, in this beautiful gown, holding the arm to Victor Crumb as they walk in, and sort of Ron was kind of feeling very jealous about this because obviously he has feelings for Hermione as well.
Yeah,
and they have a little sort of falling out session with Hermione, not really kind of thing.
Let me say this too. This is the movie too. We talked about how the movies take tones and changes really become apparent from this film form. I think it's the same for Hermione in this. I think those first 3 films, she's cute, she's very smart. She becomes pretty, if you know what I mean, in this film. This is where where the guys see her in a different light moving forward, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
Absolutely. We do get a lot of character development in this movie for the whole franchise. Let's move on to the final task. So the final task is a race, and it's a race to the Triwizard Cup in this maze. And it's the tone immediately dips into dark tone. You know something is going to happen. You know this is going to be very, very, very dark. So the race is determined by how many points you have over the last couple of challenges, whether you go in first
or
last. And the whole point is you get through the maze and you get to the Triwizard Cup. Now the problem is...
Oh, go ahead.
The problem is that the maze always changes. There's creatures.
Yes, exactly.
The maze changes all the time.
It can. Yes, you're gonna say it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it can kill you.
And it can also make you go a little because it happened to somebody in there. Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly right. The whole purpose is the whole purpose is just get your hands on the cup. That's it.
Yeah.
But you got to get through this maze to do it, and that's. Dan's right. It changes constantly, and it does things to people because we see that with one of them that's in there. You see his eyes, and he kind of goes.
Now, Dumbledore asked Mad-Eye Moody to put the cup in the maze.
Yes.
So you've got to remember that that's really important. That Mad-Eye Moody was the person responsible putting the cup in the maze, and clearly he's been helping Harry throughout of the competitions.
Yeah.
So they enter the maze, and as soon as the walls cut off, they are so isolated. They are nowhere near the grounds, the stadium where they all sat. They are on their own, and they're running around in the pitch black. They can't see anything. They're going to have a nervous breakdown, and they're just trying to find this portkey. Well, spoiler alert, this trophy.
Well, and let's talk about it because we'll go each character one by one. Fleur gets kind of swallowed up by the maze because, like Dan said, it kind of does come to life and it can attack you, and there's things it can do to you for sure. And it does get her. It kind of takes her underneath, and Harry tries to get her and save her, but he can't. And she's fine ultimately, but she's now eliminated. Next, we see that Victor has become, I don't want to say possessed, but it said
bewitched, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's become bewitched from the maze as well because they've been in there a while now. It's not something that's only been 5 minutes. They've been in there a while. And he's kind of bewitched and panicking, and he becomes kind of violent towards them to the point that he goes after Harry and Cedric to hurt him with his wand. But he ultimately gets taken out as well. They knock him out, so he's out of it. So it just comes down to 2 people left.
And they run. They see the end in sight.
Well, right. They're there, and they're talking. But then, I mean, that's important because they're both there, and they're like, look, I'm not going to do anything to you. You're not going to do anything to me. First one.
They're very... When they see the end in sight, they are very sort of aggressive. They are pushing each other out the way.
Sure. They want to win.
They want to win. They're very, very competitive. And they get to the cup. No.
Before they get to the cup, what happens?
Yeah, Cedric falls.
Cedric falls because the vines
capture
him. And they're about to take him under. And Harry's got it. He's won. Just walk up and grab it, and you're the winner. He goes back and he saves him. And that's important. And then they get up to the cup, and Cedric says to him, he's like, Go ahead. It's yours. You won. And Harry's like, no, let's do it together.
Do it together. And they grab the cup, and then, spoiler alert from 2 minutes ago, it was a portkey. And they end up in this gravesite. And it's very, they're nowhere near Hogwarts. It's very dark. It's sort of reminiscent of the start of the movie. And Harry walks over to this big statue of a hooded figure with wings and a big scythe, and reading the names off that sort of, it's almost a big gravestone, and he knows that this is the burial place of Tom Riddle, aka Voldemort, or Voldemort's family. And they needed to get out of there. They had to get out of there. Cedric's like, why? Why do we need to get out of there? He kind of doesn't know what's going on. He's a bit confused. And we see sort of Harry sort of grasping to the floor. He gets to the floor holding his scar, and he sees Peter Pettigrew holding almost like baby.
It's like cradling a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. And Cedric, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He gets killed straight up. Like no mercy, no nothing, just straight up dead.
Let me ask you a question about that, because that's a good point. I mean, once they go through the portkey, they come out. They're there for maybe a minute. Peter Pettigrew comes right up and boom, kills him. No fight, no nothing, no words. Just says Avada Kedavra, boom.
But I love that.
Cedric Diggory is gone
because he's in shock. If this was this is a blockbuster movie, but I don't feel like you need an epic fight with the character we only met for an hour. I think he's at the end of the day, he's still a child. He's still going to be very nervous, very sort of shocked about.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. To me, I was shocked by it. I didn't think he was going to go that quick. I knew he was going to die. When they got where they were and where they were, you knew they were in a bad place and something was going to happen. I figured he was going to go out. I just didn't think it was going to be like that. He didn't even get 2 words out.
He gone. And then Harry is put up against sort of the gravestone with the scythe and the winged hooded figure, and sort of trapped within it, while a big cauldron is lit up with Peter Pettigrew and Voldemort in his arms, and they're doing a ritual. They are taking the blood of Harry, they're putting the bones of Voldemort's father, they do the hand of Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, he literally cuts his own hand off.
Yeah, puts it all in a pot, and then drops baby Voldy in the cauldron, and then the menacing figure we've been waiting 4 movies for. 4 movies is finally here. The big bad of the whole franchise is here. He makes his appearance, and he looks as bad as what we were expecting. Like, he does look very evil and menacing and a proper antagonist to our protagonist. So it's a big, huge moment. Obviously, he's there. He touches Harry. They've got that connection. He brings all the Death Eaters, including Lucius Malfoy, to this gathering. He's quite disappointed with the Death Eaters, actually. Voldemort is quite disappointed. Like, why has it taken so long? And there we go. We have the first duel between Harry and Voldemort. Voldemort is clearly in control. He's like, pick up your wand, Harry. I want to, kill you. I want you to, he's like telling him to bow, all those kind of ritual things that you do before you fight. And they have maybe not the most exciting fights, but Harry stands his ground, and they do that connection of two spells. And it causes a almost like a rift. It causes like a big sort of thing to happen.
Well, this is where, and again, maybe I read this wrong, and you can correct me or somebody in the chat. Harry gets help. His mother and his father are there, and you see some of the people that have been killed from Voldemort. Because even Cedric comes back and says, "Hey, take my body back to my dad and his mom and dad." And his mom and dad even said, "Look, we'll hold him off long enough for you to get away." So he gets help. I don't know that it would be realistic enough to say that Harry, only in his 4th year, can stand his ground against the biggest, greatest villain wizard of all time. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does. Maybe that's what they're putting. But I took it as he had help there from his parents, who somehow
he needed the help. For sure.
I could be wrong, but that's how I saw it.
So his mom, dad, and Cedric Diggory help, and the caretaker was there as well.
Yeah.
Sort of distracted Voldemort. He got the Horcrux. He brought it over to Cedric Diggory's body, and they walk Key out of that scenario. And Voldemort is there to do the typical villain kind of thing, right? And you see Harry, back in the stadium. Everyone's cheering, "Oh, it's Harry, it's Harry," but something's wrong, and everyone finds out that Cedric Diggory is dead, and they don't believe that Voldemort is back. They don't believe it at all. I think Dumbledore's the only one who really knew that, he kind of believed Harry, but everyone else is like, no, it's just not true.
Right.
Mad-Eye Moody takes Harry away, and they bring him back to Mad-Eye Moody's office.
Right. And he brings it back there for a reason, because I'll let you say it.
Well, so Mad-Eye is feeling a little bit off. He's looking for... he's been having a little sip of a drink.
Yeah, you think it's some sort of like alcohol or wine or whatever, but it's not.
But it turns out to be Polyjuice Potion, which is the potion that makes you turn into somebody else. So clearly, the whole time, Mad-Eye Moody has not been Mad-Eye Moody. It's been somebody else. So the person who put the portkey at the end of the maze, who's been helping Harry the whole time, that hasn't been the actual Mad-Eye Moody.
No.
And he kind of attacks Harry, and Dumbledore bursts in with Snape, threaten Mad-Eye, and they asking, "Are you Mad-Eye Moody?" He goes, "No. Who am I? I'm your Albus Dumbledore." And the Polyjuice Potion wears off, and it is Barty Crouch Jr.
Yes.
And we find out that Mad-Eye Moody has been in this chest that is, 100 feet down. And
he's been in like a jail, kind of tied up the whole time. Yeah. But which really kind of, to me, I thought was interesting. I guess with the potion, they have to be alive for the potion to work. Because I'm thinking to myself, why didn't they just kill him?
Well, no, because they need to keep taking sort of, either hair or something from the...
Right, but he's got to... I mean, you can do that from a dead body. I'm just saying, I mean, I know I'm being morbid there, but I'm just saying, I was really surprised that he was alive. But yeah, the whole time... And the whole point of this is, what we thought was Mad-Eye helping Harry, he was helping him, but he was helping him to get him to the final for the portkey. To get him there so that he could transport him to where Voldemort was going to be. At least that's how I took it.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right.
That's why he helped him here and there so that he would do well. He wanted him to get to the end so that he could get to his master, Voldemort, so that Voldemort could kill him. Yeah. And that's really one of the biggest lines for me is at the very end of the film. Because they capture him. They talk about Cedric Diggory, this, that, and the other. And it's the end of the school year, and everybody's saying goodbye to everybody. And the Beauxbatons are going back to their school, and the Bulgarians are going back to their school. And I do like when you have the three of them standing there. They're standing there. Harry and Ron starts to walk away, and Hermione stops for a second. And they turn around and they go, "What's wrong?" And she looks at him and she goes, "Everything's going to change from here on out, isn't it?" And it's an apropos line because it's exactly true. Yep. Moving forward, these movies have changed from being really, really lighthearted and fun to very dark and very serious.
And we get into a very, very dark film in the following film, The Order of the Phoenix. So it's the big, as we said at the start, the this review. It's a very dark.
It's the game changer.
It is the game changer.
Yeah, it's the game changer. It's Winter Soldier to me.
Yes.
Yeah, Winter Soldier was the game changer for me in the Marvel. How everything got turned upside down. The good was the bad, and the bad was the good.
Yeah.
So to speak. Same thing here. This is the game changer. This is the one that changes the entire tone of the franchise moving forward.
Absolutely. On your left. I had to throw that in. So we've come to the end of the film, but we're going to continue with our summary, our review of this film. But we're going to give our letter grades. Now, obviously, if you are new to Disney Movie Review, what we would like you to do in the chat is to give us your letter grade of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It goes from an A+ all the way down to an F, A+ being the best film you've ever seen, down to an F being the worst. Both Walt and I have given A+ and Fs in the past. And we would like you to give us your letter grade for this film, if you've seen this film, and tell us why. Why have you given it that grade? Why have you given it a B+ or a D- or a God help us, F? But write in the chat what you thought of this movie. So, Walt, I'm going to come to you. Tell me your summary of the film, favorite character, favorite scene, and we'll get there.
Okay. For me, summary, it's well directed. The screenplay is great. The acting is really good. The cinematography is wonderful. The tone is a totally different tone from what we're used to. I love the fact that it's something different with a Triwizard tournament as well, which really kind of delays and takes our mind off what is going to be coming at the end of this film. I really enjoyed it. We got introduced to some new characters. We finally got the reveal of the big bad that we hadn't seen. Like you said, finally he is revealed in his true form. And it's a game changer. And for the first time, we get murder. We get murder. I mean, we get real murder of a child, of a 17-year-old Cedric Diggory. It really changes the tone, but it's really well done. I love this film. I think it's really, really good. I know it's Melissa's favorite. My favorite character in this, for me, is probably going to be Cedric. I really like that character. I liked Mad Eye until the end. That's really the bummer. But I would have to say I really like Cedric Diggory's character. And my favorite scene is probably the scene at the end when Harry goes back and saves Cedric. I just like that. That's just who he is. Anybody else would have just went and got the cup and won, and ultimately would have died because they would have gone to Voldemort. But you know what I'm saying. He went back and he saved him. For me, I really think this is a really good film, and I agree with everybody in the chat. I give it an A.
Wow.
Amazing. It's not an A+. No. It's not an A+. That's really hard, but I give it an A.
So Horizons gives it an A. Karen gives it an A. Melissa gives it an A. Matthew Cooper gives it an A. Walt gives it an A. And let's get to my review. Before we get to my review, I just want to quickly ask, what's your favorite Harry Potter film?
Mine? Film?
Favorite Harry Potter movie?
Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
Chamber of Secrets is my favorite. It's one of my favorite books and movie. My favorite book actually was Azkaban, Prisoner of Azkaban, because I really loved Professor Lupin in the books. I really love his relationship with Harry in that third book is really a good one.
I'm surprised Chamber was your favorite movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. That one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one.
I was so upset when Mad Eye was the imposter.
I can tell you which movie I didn't like the most.
Half-Blood Prince?
Yeah, you know why, don't you?
Boring?
No. Who dies in that movie?
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's my favorite character in all the Harry Potters is Professor Dumbledore. And when he gets killed in that, I'm so upset. Oh, I hope. Sorry, guys. These movies been out a long time.
It's been like, yeah.
It's been years.
PJ says, I'd say a B+. if you haven't read the books before seeing it, but a C- if you read the books beforehand. Fair enough. Says A.
I don't know. See, I thought the book and the movie were very similar. I mean, obviously, the book is like this thick. It's one of the biggest of all the books. You can't get everything in there, and I get what PJ's saying, but you can't put everything from these books in the movies. Things are going to be left out. I think they really hit on the important parts.
Yeah. So let's quickly get to my review. It's not my favorite Harry Potter movie. I do enjoy it. I think it's one of those ones that has been vastly overplayed for me. It's like listening to Let It Go all too often. I feel like I've seen this movie way too many times that it's got a bit old for me. There's a lot of it that I do really, really like. I love a lot of the dark parts of this film, but on the contrast, all the light stuff I find quite cringy, and I don't quite like it as much. So the ball scene I really do not like, and the bitter arguing I just don't like between the friends. Just I find it very, very cringy and not believable enough. That's just my personal opinion. But I love all the dark sorts of parts of it. For me to give it an A or an A-, I would have to say the movie is great. But for me, I think it's just really, really good. So it hasn't made the great category for me. So I'm going to give it a B+.
Very nice.
So I'm going to give it a B+. My favorite character, I'm going to go with Mad Eye. And my favorite scene, probably the scene where Harry goes and uses the memories to find out about Barty Crouch Jr.
That's a good one.
I really like that scene a lot, and the actors they do really, really well. And that's our review of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire of our non-Disney movie review. Now, you're like, wait, guys, are you going to pick something out of the box? Oh, wait, we already have, and let me bring it up. On Sunday at 6 p.m., there we go. The thumbnail has been made. The controversial Star Wars The Last Jedi will be our Disney movie review of the week on Sunday at 6 p.m. on my channel. This is going to be a very, very interesting one. Very polarizing opinions, I believe, amongst a lot of people. But I'm very excited because I think we'll have a lot to discuss and to debate, because there's definitely a lot of opinions to be heard. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. So that will be Sunday, 6 p.m. on my channel. The thumbnail and the stream will go up at the end. We made it. That's awesome. I'm going to go have dinner now. we really need to do another non-Disney movie review in the future.
We will.
Maybe do something, maybe not even franchise-based, maybe something like a one-off film or something.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Whatever it is, I think it'll be quite fun. So, but this has been really, really enjoyable. We've really, really loved doing this. Before we head out, I need to say a big thank you to my wonderful partner channels. We got the Viapree Project, we got Mickey's Magic, we got the king of retro himself, RobFuz, and the wonderful Mouse Talk, of course, Walton Melissa. I'm very grateful for my partner channels. I love them very dearly, so thank you so much. A big thank you to Dean over at thelifeplace.com. He's your go-to guy for all your family-friendly live streams. He has over 100 and something thousand different live streamers up on there, so go check him out, and you'll see everything from Disney, non-Disney, everything. He's your catalog of streaming, and yeah, he's pretty awesome. Walt, you had a Disanity last night at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We've got some other streams coming up the weekend.
We do.
We're looking forward to.
Yeah, we'll be Saturday at Animal Kingdom and Sunday at Magic Kingdom. So bright and early morning streams.
Very
It's going to be great. We're going to have fun.
Very nice. And happy
Easter to everybody, too.
Yeah, happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter. I do also want to bring up, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who joined me for my first ever Disney Fights, which was a really, really great show. We had Walt Carlos from Disney World Freak and RobFuz, all fight it out on different opinions and different rounds and questions. And this is going to be an oncoming thing. Will it be every week? Maybe, maybe not. But it takes a lot of planning. So I've already got some guests lined up for the next show, which is going to be very, very exciting. So keep an eye out for that. And then obviously you'll be back here Sunday, 6 p.m. for the Disney movie review. But guys, please go check out Walt's channel, Walt and Melissa, live for a wild journey on Animal Kingdom Day on Saturday, and then a magical time over at Magic Kingdom. It's going to be a very, very fun week of streaming.
May blast.
And that's it. Well, guys, thank you so much. Hope everybody has an amazing Easter. Thank you for taking the time out of your week to come see us on the time schedule. It's been so crazy, but we've really loved having you here. Have a great week, everybody, and we're gonna see you on the weekend.
For the good of all Cree.
For the good of all Cree, may the force be with you for Sunday.
Oh, Lord.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.